Ah. Thanks for tuning in. Politics on the Corner, Lil Rap King. Appreciate everybody continue support that's consistent with coming through here. Whether you watching a live or whether you watching a playback, it's definitely much obliged, much appreciated. Definitely much obliged and much appreciated. I know y'all got things y'all be doing more than sitting here fooling around with me for an hour or so. But like I said, I appreciate the support. I don't take it for granted. I don't overlook it. Like, definitely don't. One iota, I don't. I got something that's over here actually trying to attack me. I don't know what that is. But something over here halfway trying to attack me. But not much ado. Your first time here, first time to the show, know it's not gonna go how you think it's gonna go. Like I said, I definitely appreciate the continued support. It's definitely continued motivation, continued influence. Thank everybody for showing love. Thank everybody for showing love. Come through here, like, share, subscribe, comment, like on the way in, comment, let me know you were here. Let's go. Man, where do we start at? There's a lot of stuff that don't happen this week. We're gonna get to that main part, you know, in a minute. But what about the submarine, man? What about the submarine? So the guy, he's been into underwater exploration for about 10, 15 years or so, or maybe longer than that. But for a while, he's actually doing dives. He decided to build a submarine out of carbon fiber and all these other materials that's not rated, especially when you go to those depths of the ocean. So he built this personal sub. And he found 4 lucky contestants that decided to join him down under. One guy brought his son. To my understanding, his son was apprehensive about that voyage. Everything I'm seeing, you had other people coming up saying how, you know, they was approached about possibly joining that voyage or another voyage, and they expressed concerns about the materials and like I said, the carbon fiber material, the material glass that the one little window was made out of, and how vulnerable that could be, especially when you start talking about sea depths and sea water and sea pressure. You know what I mean? Like, people really need to respect that ocean. So you had other people, like I said, that expressed concerns about it. You had other people that told them that it was a bad idea for all intents and purposes. Like, yo, this is a bad idea, man. You may want to abort mission. You may want to do something else. He carried on. He gave the middle finger to his naysayers, I guess. I think the guy was super arrogant, and I really don't think he had the proper respect for the ocean. I tell people look at me all the time, like, I don't really play with that water. Like, anything more than a bath or a shower, I'm really not with it. Like, people really need to respect that ocean, man. It ain't nothing to play with. It's nothing to take lightly, and as you can see, it can kill you. And you didn't need to go to those depths to know that it can kill you. But like I said, it was other people that approached that he approached personally. He approached another father and son. The father, to all my estimation from the way I viewed it, the son was the father was with it. The son is the person that had 1,000 questions. The son is the person that's like, nah, I don't really think this is safe. You know what I mean? And then when the dad contacted the CEO about it, the president, got his name. He was met with harsh backlash and rebuttals. Right? I think like I said, I think he was an arrogant guy, and he had X amount of, I think it was something like maybe 10 trips they had already taken. Um, what you gotta understand with every time that you go on this voyage and you go into these 12, 13,000 foot depths, which is not normal, right? Let's get that part straight. It's not normal. Um, People are not designed, like crafts are not designed to go that far down into the water, right? But when you go into those depths, and every time you come back up, you gotta do some kind of maintenance. You gotta do some kind of quality control, some kind of quality control. You gotta check if there's any vulnerabilities that were arisen during the last voyage. Um, that we sustain any cracks. That we should that especially this window. Like this window is the key part, because without the proper insulation, without it being welded properly well, I don't know how much you can weld a window to carbon fiber. You know what I mean? But without that, like it can implode. That window caves in, it's game over. You know what I mean? There's really no way you can recover from that. There's really no way that you can um, mitigate that. Like there is no damage control measures you can do. Those depths, when something gives way, as such as water, such as a window. You know what I'm saying? Um, I just don't think it was a bright idea. I don't think it was thought clearly. Like I said, I think it was the ego thing. I think the ego got the best of him. Um, I don't know what the father was thinking, forcing his son to go down there. Like I really don't, and I don't want to. I don't like the whole Monday morning quarterback thing, where it's easy in hindsight to say what shouldn't have happened, right? But if you want to gamble with your life, then you gamble with your life and your life alone. Like Furwise is bringing somebody along, especially a kid that hasn't even lived life yet, because you ran out of stuff to buy. I mean, that's called a spade at the end of the day, right? You got all these billionaires. They don't got nothing to do with money, but they money no more. Like they don't board everything they can buy. They don't. A lot of them freakazoids. They don't board all the little boys. It definitely wasn't proven, bro. And but carbon fiber ain't even meant to go like that's not what the purpose of carbon fiber is. I mean, granted, he probably was looking at something. He was trying to look for a light, heavy material. But at the same time, I don't see. It's not rated for those depths. Like it's not too many materials that's rated for those depths. You know what I mean? U.S. Navy, the military around the world don't even play around with 12, 13,000 feet, man. Like, that's not no depth. It's a reason why the Titanic is still down there. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason the Titanic is still down there and it hasn't been brought back to the surface. It's a reason for it. One, it takes a whole bunch of money. It takes a whole lot of specialized equipment. And you got to find equipment that can sustain those depths, right? And more likely it's going to be some robotic type time. It ain't really going to be a human being physically down there. You know what I mean? If it is, it ain't going to be down there too long, right? So more likely it's going to be some robotic equipment that you're going to send down there if you want to raise the Titanic up, right? But there's a reason why, yeah, absolutely, right? So there's a reason why people don't play around like that, man. Like, you don't play around like that. And like I said, I think the real travesty is that young man lost his life. He was found in the lead of his pop. You know what I'm saying? He was found in the lead of his pop, and he lost his life for it. And to me, that's the only thing that I show mercy for. Like, the rest of them grown behind people, they idiots. I don't care. I don't got no compassion. I don't got Nothing. Like find something else to do with money, man. Like I said, y'all ran out of stuff to do with money. Y'all bought all the little what y'all want to buy. I ain't gonna repeat that, but y'all don't bought all the little weird stuff that y'all into, and y'all like, come on, man. There's a reason why that was 250K. You know what I mean? Elon Musk and Richard Branson and all of them charging an M to go to the tip of the earth. They charging an M. Why? Because their crafts is built and certified. Like this wasn't even a certified piece of equipment. You know what I mean? Like you have other Voyagers that go down that far, but their equipment is certified. It's a reason why this was only 250K. And I know y'all wilding like only 250K. When you really think about the grand scheme of things and how much this piece of equipment still costed, how much it still costs to maintain, and this is a once in a lifetime experience, you know good and well it should be more than an M. Like, come on, man, we just gonna keep it a stack. We all know it should be more than an M, right? So for it to be 250, that told the story. 250 told the whole story. Y'all ain't had no business playing with that. You know what I mean? Like I said, young boy lost his life because his pop was an idiot at the end of the day. I don't care about none of them other grown people who decided to do something stupid and decided that they want to play Russian roulette with the ocean. The ocean ain't to be played with. And when you start getting down to those depths, it's stuff that we've never encountered before. It's stuff that we don't even know what's down there. You really want to play around down there? It's stuff that we don't even know what's down there. It's stuff that has not been discovered that's down there. They'll probably eat that whole craft. Man, I'm not playing around with that, man. Man, listen. You might as well just go in the middle of the highway doing rush hour blindfolded. You wanna chase death that bad. You want an adrenaline shot, and you want to do all this other wild stuff and weird stuff. Like, go bungee jumping with no cord, parachute with no, you know what I'm saying, with no parachute. Like, jump out of a plane with no parachute. You know what I mean? Like, it's other stuff you can do. You want to chase death that bad and see how it work out for you. But damn sure don't take your kid on that voyage, man. Like, that's wild to me to take your kid. Like I said, that young boy ain't even get a chance to live life yet. Like he ain't even experienced what's going on out here. His life ain't even start. You know what I mean? And he lost it because he was pressured by his pop to do something stupid. I think that's wild. But yeah, that's enough of that. I meant to talk about that last week, but it slipped my mind. There's an article I read today where they was talking Texas state inmates, right? I don't know if y'all know, but Texas got a crazy heat wave, like across the whole South, like from Florida to Texas. It's a crazy heat wave, and Texas is like averaging anywhere from 110 to 115 with the heat index. I don't know if that's regular temperature or heat index. I could be wrong, right? I don't want y'all know. I don't like to lie or steer y'all wrong, but it was an article saying that the inmates are saying they're pretty much being baked alive because they don't have a proper AC in there. You know what I mean? And it's coming down to inhumane treatment. You know, I'm a firm believer that if you're not no rapist or no child murderer or no old person murderer or something like that, you still deserve a level of proper treatment when you're in jail, right? You still should get proper and adequate living conditions, right? Especially depending if you in there for life or you got a crazy sentence. You still, to me, you know, you should have that access to that, like fair treatment, fair housing. So when you start talking about stuff like, I talked about this before dealing with Atlanta. I think it was Fulton County, if I'm mistaken. Fulton County Jail, if I'm not mistaken. How the inmates were, an inmate had died from bed bugs. And when they did his autopsy, how he pretty much had all these bed bug bites all over him, like it covered him, it smothered him, right? And he was living in squalor pretty much. Like he had urine and feces running in the cell from the toilet, and I mean the whole cell. I mean the whole jail is like that. It's not just this particular cell. But this particular cell was amplified because of the waste that was running into his cell, along with him being attacked by bed bugs and him being left in there for days. And he pretty much was eaten alive, and um, he suffered. You know what I mean? All intents and purposes, he suffered. And it's a lot of jail facilities like this around the country. You know what I mean? And my thing is this: if you're gonna make all this money off these prisons, and everybody ain't in there for a crime that is worthy of them being in jail. Let's get that overstood, right? Everybody is not in there for a crime that's really warranted for them to be incarcerated, right? And I don't know if y'all realize this, but I think I said it before. A lot of people that's incarcerated, they only incarcerated because they can't make bail. You know what I mean? And I'm talking trivial bail amounts. I'm not talking thousands. I'm talking $50, $75. You know what I mean? They bail was $500. They bail was $750. 10% of that is what? And they can't even make that. You know what I mean? They in there for stealing deodorant out of CVS. You know what I mean? They not in there for knocking an old lady in the head. They not in there for no egregious crimes against no child or no woman. They in there trying to steal food out of Aldi or something to sell food. To sell that, because they got an addiction, right? Or you got someone that's trying to steal food out there to eat. Everybody ain't trying to sell stuff to get high. You know what I mean? So when people talk, so I'm gonna do a show eventually on prison reform, but this is what prison reform means to me. You know what I mean? Like, free these beds up for these murderers, for these especially child murderers and these old people murderers and rapists and all them. Free them beds up for them. They need the beds more than anybody. And I don't care what kind of inhumane treatment they get in. I don't care if somebody stick a mop stick up them every day, every hour on the hour. You know what I mean? That's really the kind of energy that they need. That's what they deserve. Like, ain't no compassion for them. But like I said, people in there, everybody not in there for egregious crimes or things that's super heinous, anything like that. Everybody not on that kind of time. You got people definitely in there for trivial matters, man. You know what I mean? And that's what the whole concept was when these cities and these states attacked bail reform. It's because they identified the fact that there's a gap. Like, if you rich, you get out of jail. If you rich, you get out of jail. If you poor, you stay in jail. You know what I mean? Hold on, my bad. Let me see if I can get back on the Wi-Fi. Facebook kind of blacked out on me. There we go. My bad, y'all. I don't know what happened. Saying something about poor wireless, that don't make no sense. But yeah, that's what the concept was behind bail reform. Like I said, because they seen there was a gap. If you're rich, you can get out of jail. You can pay for the top lawyers, like bail money. If you get a bail, you're gonna make bail if you got money. You know what I'm saying? And more likely, you got a better chance of beating the case or copping out to something that's really not going to cost you much. You know what I mean? Because you can afford to hire a real lawyer. You ain't in there with no public defender. You know what I mean? But if you poor, then you're not making bail. If you poor, you're getting a public defender. You're getting a dude with 100 caseload. You know what I mean? You get a dude that's going through folders, dropping folders, picking folders up, asking you what your name is 1,000 times. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, what you in here for? A homicide? No, I'm in here because, a traffic ticket or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that's how overwhelmed they are. You know what I mean? They don't really get time to even read your case prior to they even meeting you. They trying to introduce themselves, and while they talking to you, read your file real quick. You know what I mean? That's not adequate representation. That's not an adequate defense. You know what I mean? It's a joke with them saying that. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, everyone is entitled to adequate and sufficient defense. But if you ain't able to public defender with 100 cases on their file, you ain't adequate. You're not getting adequate or sufficient defense. You know what I'm saying? And depending on where you at, it ain't gonna be a jury of your peers. And it really don't really matter where you at, because a lot of times we don't really get picked for jury duty all crazy. It may be one or two of us. You know what I'm saying? You're not in there with people that come from where you come from. That's the jury of your peers. That's being tried by the people that identify with you or can relate to your circumstances. You know what I'm saying? It's just because you in the age bracket, that don't make you my peer. That don't make that ain't, you know what I mean? That's not no fair trial. Because that person 9 times out of 10 they never gonna understand what drove you to do the things you've done. It's gonna go way over their head. They're not gonna comprehend that. And I get it. I'm not tripping on that. You know what I mean? But let's clean up the language. You know what I mean? Let's legitimize the language, clean up the language, and and stop with the banana in the tailpipe. Stop with the word play. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, everybody don't understand language. You know what I mean? And I'm not crapping on nobody. I'm not down on nobody. I'm not belittling nobody. But everybody don't really understand the real concept of language. You know what I mean? The terminology, uh, phrase comprehension. Everybody don't have that. You know what I mean? Especially when you start talking that legal stuff, that stuff go over a lot of people's head, man. And it's designed to. It go over some lawyers' head sometimes. Sometimes it go over the DA head. Prosecutor, DA, wherever you at. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what you call it. You know what I mean? Sometimes it go over their head. They get misinterpretations of the language. So imagine that person who has a legitimate comprehension gap, an understanding gap. They relying on this person to hold them down and steer them in the right direction for what's in their best interest. But really what's in their best interest is, hey yo, we gonna plead out to 20 years. That's one less case he gonna get off, because he know when he come in the morning he gonna get 10 more cases dumped on his desk. So the more cases he can plead out, that's why you can't always look at these district attorneys' offices and they be having high conviction rates. Even the feds. You know why the feds got a high conviction rate? Because they pile on a bunch of charges and they say they're gonna give you 9,000 months. And you do the computation like 9,000 months, that's like 300 years or something. So I'm gonna go ahead and cap out to this rather than a blow trial and get 9,000 months. That's not because, don't get me wrong, their investigative resources is way higher than at the city and state level. Don't get that misconstrued. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that after a while, you know what I'm saying, something got to be done with how they pile on charges and how and with these guidelines and with these point systems, and you know what I'm saying. Like something got to be done about that, man. Like something really got to be done about that. Like I said, if you're a child rapist or a child murderer or old folk woman murderer or rapist, this don't apply to you. You get 9 million months. I don't care about you. I'm talking about the common folk, man, that's out here just trying to find a way to make it and scrambling and all that, and he looking at 9,000 months. You know what I mean? Like something got to be done about that. I think that's it's a shock value to it. You know what I mean? Like I said, you rather cop out than to blow trap. And it's the same thing at the city and state level. You know what I mean? It ain't so much that they got the resources. It's the fact of how they pile on these charges. You know what I'm saying? And they scare you, quite frankly. I mean, it's an intimidating number that they throw in your way. You don't want nothing to do with that number. So you rather just fade to black and say, hey yo, I'm gonna go ahead and take what you offer me. You offer me a dub, I'm gonna take that dub. You offer me a dime with my first offense for jaywalking, I'm gonna take that dime. You know what I'm saying? And that's really, for me, that's really what it is, man. Like like I said, for me, something gotta be done about that. It ain't hot, it ain't cool. Yeah, that's not the justice system. There's nothing justice about that. And then on top of that, when people get there, they're gonna be living in inhumane conditions. You know what I'm saying? All this money they getting off the criminal justice system. Every prison in this country should be A1. You heard? Every prison should be A1. How much money they getting? It should never be a broken toilet, broken sink. Food should be, you know what I'm saying? Like TV, everybody should get a TV should be already in your cell when you get there. All this paper they get. And then they're gonna get the pretty much the free labor when you get there. You know what I'm saying? And then don't be at one of the places where you actually making furniture and all that, because then the prison gonna get money off of that. They gonna eat off of that too. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man, stop the nonsense. Like let's keep it a stack of nothing. You know what I mean? Let's keep it a stack of nothing. What else I want to get off my chest real quick? What else I want to get off my chest? I talked a little bit about the Hunter Biden situation last week. I was dodging a thunderstorm. I don't know what that was, thunderstorm / hurricane. I was trying my best to thug it through. But I had to end it like 20, 30 minutes into the show last week. That's why I'm indoors today, even though it's not supposed to rain, but it's hot as hell outside. But even that's nonsense. You know what I'm saying? The deal they gave dude for what he was charged with and what they had evidence to prove. You know what I mean? Even that deal they gave him was crazy. Once again, you know what I mean? Social status and social class and economic status and economic class is not the same justice system. It's not the same justice system. Because if that was me, they would have took me in custody the same day. I wouldn't have got no probation. I wouldn't have got no house arrest. I wouldn't have got none of that. There's a remand and defendant in the custody. I'll probably be at classification right now. I'll be at the reception joint getting classified right now. You know, it's a 30-day joint or 60-day joint depending on where you at, depending on who you is. But I'll be somewhere right now sitting down waiting to get classified and figure out what jail I'm going to send to. You know what I'm saying? And anybody that's watching this is in the same boat. You'd have been just like me. Waiting to get classified, waiting to get sent for. I just think I think that's absurd. It's definitely privilege. Like, it's definitely privilege on a level that the average folk would never understand. You know what I mean? Average folk would never understand that. It is something else I want to talk about real quick. So up in Michigan, there's a town in Michigan. I forgot the name, but there's a town in Michigan. You got a Chinese corporation, Indigo or something like that. They're trying to buy all these acres, right, of land. And if you pay attention to these Chinese corporations, they always move into an area where it has some sensitive facilities at. So this particular facility, this particular location is by a college that has a fellowship program with the CIA. It's close by a base. I want to say an Air Force base that has I don't think it's nukes. I think it's satellites or something, or radio transmissions or something like that. And you know, anything up in that region of Michigan is going to be right there across the water from Canada, right? So you know, the residents. So the little town council committee or whatever, they're opening the door for the Chinese to come in and buy the land, right? And the citizens are revolting. You know what I'm saying? They're telling them like, nah, why the hell? Like, and it's a fact. We can't go over to China and buy no land. We can't go to China and buy no land. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no average corporation. You know what I mean? It's going to take the NBA or Nike or somebody like that. But that's going to be run by them. You know what I'm saying? It's going to have an American presence, but it's going to be run by them at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But we just can't go over there and randomly buy land and pick what we want. They're not going to let us do that. And that's what they're saying. They looking like, yo, one, do you know where we're at? Do you know the vicinity of where we're at in all these sensitive compounds and facilities that's within 2 or 3, 4 hours from here? It's a reason they picked here. You know what I mean? And no, we shouldn't be allowing them to buy no more land in the U.S. Like they already been caught with private police stations and private, like everybody do a level of espionage and counterintelligence. Every country on the planet got some degree. Major countries anyway got some degree of doing that on foreign soil. You know what I mean? Um, but the height of the conflict, tensions we are with China right now, I just think that there's no way in hell we should be selling them any land. But when you owe them so much paper, it's kind of hard to push back. When you indebted them in the trillions of dollars, it's hard to tell them no. It's hard to have any kind of real policy that's going to come up and say, no, y'all can't do A, B, C, or D. You know what I'm saying? And that's just real. That's just real. It is what it is. But like I said, the citizens are pushing back against that, and good for them. I wish more people, more places do that. Everybody should jump on board with that. It's not a game. You don't want, and then they had the whole spy balloons and all that other stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a bad idea. Just a bad idea. All right, now let me get into the Chicago thing. So Chicago, right? There's a lady, she went into some kind of takeout, like a chicken place or something, some kind of takeout she went in, and she's at the window. She give her son in the car. This guy, somehow they get into a shopping match and they get into a confrontation. When it's just at the talking stage still, the guy literally has his hand balled up. Like he has his right hand balled up. I didn't watch the whole thing. I didn't want to see the young boy shoot him or nothing like that. You know what I mean? But dude had his right hand balled up the whole time. Like he had it at his side, like pretty much measuring the, for whatever he decided he gonna hit him. Now what this conflict was about, I have no idea, right? Only they know, and maybe that'll come out during the course of the investigation and the course of more information being released, right? So alleged to dude hitting him, attacking her, right? It wasn't a hit, it was an attack, right? Dude attacked her. There's nothing but a door and windows, right? So his son is in the parking lot. He can see this, right? So she tell her son to shoot him. Like, come shoot this dude, right? That's what they saying, right? So come shoot this dude. Her son run in there, hit him. The mom grabbed the gun from the son and she was about to spin and hit the girlfriend that was with the dude. The son grabbed him, like grabbed the gun, like no, pretty much, you know what I mean? At this point, like the son at that point had more brains than the mama. Now, granted, the mama was just attacked, so her adrenaline and her anger's probably at an all-time high. You know what I mean? The son still has some resemblance of self-control. You probably say, damn, that's an oxymoron. He just shot my man. He shot Main Man for putting his hands on his mom for attacking his mom. That's not a case for me of losing self-control. He did what any child should do. He did what any little boy should do. Somebody, a grown man out here attacking his mom. Me personally, he ain't shoot him enough times. You know how I play. He ain't shoot him enough times. Just how I feel about it. Right? But he grabs the gun from the mom. They didn't run, they didn't do nothing. They get arrested. Right? People are in the uproar. How could she put her son up to doing that? Yeah. Now, it reminded me of a case that happened like a year ago in Florida, in Orlando, in a section called Pine Hills, where the mother confronted one of her neighbors. The difference is this with this though. It was a mother confronting another woman, but the mother was the aggressor, right? She confronted the lady. During the course of this confrontation, the aggressor told the daughter to shoot the lady. It's like there is no defense in there. You know what I mean? There's like Florida got that controversial stand your ground law and all that. But no way, you can't be the aggressor in the selling. You know what I mean? You can't be the aggressor. I'm sorry. You can't be the aggressor and the victim, right? You can't play both sides of the table. You gotta pick a side and stay on it. You know what I always say, right? So, in this case, she was the aggressor, and then when the police came, she tried to play victim. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, no, you initiated, you instigated this. It's the same difference with the white lady that killed the black lady, AJ, right? It's the same difference. You went outside, you went out of your way to be the aggressor and do things to little kids. That's why I feel so strongly about the George Zimmerman thing. He was the aggressor. He ran down, he chased this young boy, he hunted him, he preyed upon him. You know what I mean? He preyed upon him. No matter how you want to bring that back, he hunted him down, he followed him, he preyed upon him, he engaged him. The whole victim defense goes out the window at that point. In this case, the mother was standing up there waiting on her food, ordering her food, and she was approached in an aggressive manner by a man who wound up attacking her. And like I said, I believe that young man did what any son should do. When they say their mother, their auntie, their sister, whoever, being attacked, grandmama, you know what I'm saying? Being attacked by a man. And he's a child, so it's not like he in a tip like, damn, I can go fight this grown man and get him on my mom. He looking like, I'm 14, it's a grown man. I ain't got no win right there, but what I can do was undefeated is just him. And he let him have it, as he should have. As he should have. So, like I said, they was originally charged, and then today or yesterday, I want to say yesterday, the DA wound up dropping the charges. You know what I mean? They wound up dropping the charges. And I think that anybody that, I don't think nobody would have, I don't think no jury, no rational, reasonable jury would have convicted them. Not one. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it was nothing in there that could remotely explain or give an excuse of why that man was attacking that woman like that. You know what I mean? There's no rational explanation for that. I think more and more, I mean, you have these instances out here. I mean, granted, I think it's a high level of stress going on in the world. I think people are still reeling from the pandemic and whatever financial or relationship complications that cause in people's personal lives. And I'm not giving no passes, no excuses. I'm just saying globally, I think that this is what is contributing to this uptick in violence that we see, even in places where historically there haven't really been no violence. And the places that historically has had violence has seen an increase in that violence, right? And I think that that's one of the main culprits. I think that's a gap that the government needs to step in and figure out a way to mitigate and help citizens mitigate. Because you got more and more states going to this constitutional carry, so you're going to have more people carrying hammers that never carried hammers before. You got people that, you know, it's a statistic, and I'm going to find a statistic because I'm going to actually do a show about this one time, that shows the number of gun incidents that didn't take place because somebody had to go get their gun. You know what I mean? Versus having it right there when they hit. Right, so when you got these cities that they have strict gun laws, so you don't really want to get caught with a gun on you, right? So you get into a conflict, or you can't have a gun, right, for whatever reason, and you got to go back to the crib to get it. By the time you come back, that person gone, or whatever the case may be, right? Now, depending on the gravity, it ain't over, you know, spin around and you see them, whatever later on, whatever the case may be. But more than enough gun incidents didn't take place because people didn't physically have a weapon on them. Like I said, that's about to go away in the state of Florida, and there's more and more states that are getting on board with this whole constitutional carry thing. where it's going to be an uptick in shootings, like it really is. It's going to be an uptick in robberies. And I'm talking about people getting robbed for their guns. I ain't talking about people constitutional carry running around robbing people. No, I'm talking about people getting robbed for their guns. That's going to be an uptick. Accidental discharges, people leaving firearms in places by accident. And it's still going to be, to me, it gotta be with shootings and homicides going to have to go up. Like it's a cause and effect for everything that happens. And I think directly that's going to be a major impact. You know what I'm saying? Like that's going to be a major impact. And people are going to feel the effects of that. You got to feel the effects of that. You know, but you know, Chicago is a lot like Philly, and a lot like Los Angeles, and a lot like New York, a lot like Baltimore. It's a place where you really you can't really. It's hard to get a concealed carry. You know what I'm saying? Like Philly's probably the easiest place out of everything I named. But it's only gotten easier because they took the onus. They took that responsibility from the sheriffs, because the sheriffs was wild. You know what I'm saying? The sheriffs were going outside the guidelines and denying people concealed carry permits. You know what I mean? It was totally at the sheriff's discretion. A la North Carolina. In North Carolina, you had the North Carolina is the illest thing I ever heard. You know what I'm saying? Like it made no sense to me, right? So you have to go down to the sheriff's office, and you gotta go down to the sheriff's office. You gotta apply for a gun permit, right? It's not a gun permit like y'all think it though. It's not the concealed carry permit, right? It was a gun permit so you can purchase a gun, a handgun. Like you can buy rifles and shotguns all day going out of style, right? You had to go to the sheriff's office and apply for a gun permit so you can go to the gun store to purchase a gun, a handgun. And a concealed carry permit was a whole nother process. It's two different processes. You know what I'm saying? But it still was going through the sheriff's office. So they finally did away with that because that was unconstitutional as hell. They deemed it unconstitutional, which I don't know how they was able to get away with it for that long. You know what I mean? But they wound up doing away with it the last 2 or 3 years or so. They found it unconstitutional. And now, you know, it's the regular process like anybody else. You go down there, you fill out the gun application, and they run it through the state police or whoever they run it through, you know what I'm saying? And come back, yeah, no, whatever the case may be. But I just thought that was crazy. You know what I'm saying? I just thought that was crazy. And once again, the only thing you did was you took firearms out of citizens' hands that were law-abiding citizens. You make it. That's the only thing restricted gun laws do is you make it harder for law-abiding citizens to obtain firearms to protect themselves, protect their family, or whatever the case may be. Cause ain't nobody on the corner, ain't nobody outside worried about going to the gun store filling out no application. No, I'm gonna go to the alley. I'm gonna give them $200-300 for something fresh out the box, or something that's filthy. I'm gonna give them $50, $100 max, depending on what it is that's filthy. You know what I'm saying? They not worried about no application. They not worried about no laws. They not worried about violating some Uniform Firearms Act. You know what I'm saying? They not worried about none of that. They're not worried about hollow points being illegal or anything or extended magazines being illegal. They not worried about none of that. They not worried about switches being illegal. They not worried about bump stocks. Well, bump stocks ain't illegal. They try to make them illegal. That failed. But you see what I'm saying? They not worried about anything dealing with a firearm that's deemed illegal. They gonna break the law regardless anyway. So what they care about some law that they already done broke 1,000 times and they probably just got out of jail for breaking it. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely one of them things of it got to be a balance. I do think it got to be a balance. I think the I'm torn with the constitutional carry. The constitutional carry, half of I understand because according to the Constitution, it's your right to have a firearm, right? It doesn't have any restrictions with that. It doesn't have any restrictions with that. You know what I mean? Um, so if states enacting your actual constitutional rights, it's kind of hard to get mad at that. But at the same time, with these with the homicide rate and the shooting rate and the violent rate going up, you know, the more weapons, the more it's going to increase. It just comes with the territory. There's no way to dodge that. There's no way to dodge that. So like I said, I'm torn. I'm torn on that. I understand both arguments. That's one time where I'm really torn. I understand both arguments. I really don't have a dog in the fight. Only thing I really don't like is these states with these crazy gun laws that make it super tough for you to obtain a firearm. I.e. New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, California. They make it super complicated to obtain a firearm. There's places with the highest murder rates and shooting rates and all that. You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, what's the recourse? What's the level of protection? What's the layer of protection for them? You ain't boxing no bullet. People robbing everything. Like, you can't even be an Uber or Lyft driver, you getting robbed. You can't be a delivery driver, you getting robbed. People shooting up Ubers and Lyfts because of who the passengers are, who the fares are. You know what I'm saying? If you are here, I'm sorry, like I get it, everybody, and I get it. The job market is tough, and everybody don't have the requisite skills that is needed for today's job force. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, this whole Lyft and Uber and Uber Eats and all this, and Grubhub, man, that occupation ain't too much different than a dude in a submarine. The way they getting robbed and shot, like I said, they getting robbed for if they delivering food, they getting robbed and still shot after they rob them. If you're doing a Lyft or Uber, some of them just getting robbed for their car, but some of them getting their car shot up depending on who the fare is in the car. You know what I'm saying? That occupation is rough, man. Is that Oceanic Atlantic, whatever the name of that was? It ain't too much different. That's a dangerous zone right there. And it's danger. It's danger for the passengers too, the people that's utilizing the service. Because how many times it's been more and more frequent cases of the Uber Lyft driver turning around trying to rape the females. Like, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just crazy. But I'm sorry, I know I get sidetracked a little bit. But I mean, it's all still relevant in the scope of what we're talking about. But yeah, man. I salute the young man for killing dude for beating on his mom. I salute him. I just hope that this doesn't define him. I hope that this doesn't take him in a bad direction. Man, he got that taste of blood. He know what it feel like to do something on that level. I hope that don't do something to his psyche. You know what I'm saying? I hope he can compartmentalize that and really look at that as a one-off. But every time a situation arises like that, dealing with my mother, I'm going to do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I hope this doesn't mentally take this kid somewhere else, take him to a dark place. He don't got that taste of blood to say, okay, now this is what I do. You know what I mean? And it's easy like that. He live in Chicago. You know what I mean? So it's easy to get that mindset of one of them kids out there and say, oh, well now I'm gonna go join the gang. I already dropped my first body. If he, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to assume he part of no gang or not. I ain't gonna put that on his jacket. I hope he don't go join the gang. You know what I'm saying? Because even the gang know he'll drop something in. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's how that works. That's just the other side of reality. They not looking at it like, oh, yeah, he only did that because that was his mom. They looking at that like, oh man, he'll drop something. We need that. He a shooter. We need that. I hope that's not exploited. I hope that this kid get the proper resources because he's gonna need resources, whether he realize that or not. Um, like I said, it's easy to me. It's easy to try to frame this differently, but it's all the same thing. For our wives, is what it could do to you mentally. I think the resource part is going to be very important. They're going to have close contact with this kid. They're going to keep their hands and arms around this kid, and hopefully put him on a path and keep him on a path to where this moment does not define him, and he just wows out. You know what I mean? He just goes 0 to 100. That's all he do now. Hopefully that won't be the case. But like I said, kudos to him. I don't care. Some people probably not gonna like that. Like, damn, why you applaud this kid for taking a life, man? Listen, that guy was assaulting his mother, man. Like I don't know if y'all never watched the video. I only watched the first part. I never watched when he actually hit her. I didn't watch when the son shot her. I just watched enough where he literally had his hand balled up, and he had his hand balled up in his side, at his side, and he's clearly measuring. You know what I mean? He's clearly measuring her, like trying to get the range so when he hit her, that he makes sure that it's one of them. You know what I mean? It was clear about his posture, it was clear about his demeanor, it was clear about the aggression in his face, it was clear with his non-verbal body language. And hopefully this will steer other dudes from doing that same thing. He might have saved somebody else's life that was into that. Now, hopefully, anybody out there that got sons, or single mothers that got sons, now hopefully, a dude out there that's interested in you, or a dude that want to approach you on some aggressive type time, is going to look at your son now like, damn, I want her son to kill me. You know what I'm saying? Damn, her son strapped, her son got a hammer. I want to end up like man. You know what I mean? Hopefully that'll make somebody think twice. And if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. If they die, they die. Y'all know how I give it up. Y'all already know how I play. I don't really have a whole lot of rap with that. You know what I mean? But like I said, I just hope this kid get resources. I just really hope he get resources. I hope that he can come out on the other side of this with his faculties intact, with his mind intact, without losing his soul, without losing his way. You know what I mean? And I don't think the average mother would even thought to put their son in that kind of situation, now unless it was absolutely necessary. And to my estimation, it was absolutely necessary. Because it might be telling a different story of how she got beaten to death had she not told her son to do what he did. You know what I mean? It could be a whole totally different story. And then what it would have been, oh damn, young boy ain't help his mom out. Damn, why the young boy sit there and let him do that to his mom? You know what I'm saying? It'd have been, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways with that. You definitely can't have it both ways. It can't be, you can't put young boy in a damn if you do, damn if you don't situation. Like, that ain't fair. That's not cool. You gotta pick a side and stay on it. Facts. You gotta pick a side and stay on it. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the stuff I really wanted to get off my chest today. Like I said, I always thank y'all for the support. I always thank y'all for coming through, spending time with me. I'm gonna be back in the studio probably like in 2 weeks. Next week is the 4th of July, next Tuesday, so I ain't even gonna play with that either. Y'all not rocking with me on the 4th of July. Ain't no point in me even trying this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even going to do that to myself. But should be back on the 11th of July. I got a lot of stuff still in the can. There's a lot of stuff to still talk about, man. A lot of stuff I'm waiting to talk about until I'm actually in the studio. You know, certain stuff I want to present it right. I mean, I definitely want to talk about that new international African American museum that just opened up in South Carolina. I don't know if it just opened up, but it's open in South Carolina. I want to say it just opened up. It's in Charleston, South Carolina. I want to talk about that. It's a big facility. It's a big facility. They got a genealogist on site that can trace your roots. I feel a little bit indifferent about people playing with your DNA and all that. You know what I mean? But it's, to my understanding, there's a lot of information there. I seen a little special programming about it. Probably was like 15, 20 minutes worth of programming that I was watching about that. And I definitely want to take that trip to see this. It's a black woman who's the CEO and president of it, I think, and the founder of it. You could tell she put her heart and soul into this project. There's hundreds and hundreds of years worth of information. Thousands of years, my bad, of information. My bad, I'm totally presenting that wrong. There's so much information. Like when literally when you watch this, you won't be flabbergasted. Like you can find. I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube by now. But I want to do a show talking about that. And if I ever can make it there, I'll definitely do a show post visit. You know what I mean? I'll definitely do a show post visit. But that's something worth checking out. You know what I mean? For people that's in the South that can't necessarily make it up to DC, if that's in driving range to you, I think that's worth a trip. You know what I mean? That's definitely something you should go check out, explore, take your kids, take your family. Don't have kids, take your family, take your friends, whoever. You know what I mean? We need to stop ducking history, man. I know some history could be very painful, but we can't duck history, man. It is what it is. Either you run to the pain or you run from it. That's all you can do with pain. Run from it or run to it. Pick a side and stay on it, you heard? Politics on the corner.